If you've ever found yourself carefully choosing your words, replaying conversations in your head long after they've ended, or feeling responsible for how someone else feels, even when you didn't do anything wrong, you might be carrying something that doesn't fully belong to you. It doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it just looks like being considerate, being the calm one, the one who understands everyone. But underneath that, there's a pattern, and it says more than you think. People who feel responsible for everyone's emotions often move through life in a very specific way. They notice everything: the slight change in someone's tone, a delayed reply, a short answer that feels colder than usual. And almost automatically, their mind starts asking questions. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset because of me? Should I fix this? This isn't just overthinking, it's a learned sensitivity, a kind of emotional scanning that developed over time, usually without conscious awareness. Because at some point, paying attention to other people's emotions wasn't optional. It felt necessary. So the behavior becomes subtle. You apologize quickly, even when you're not sure what you did. You try to keep things smooth, avoid tension, soften your words. You hesitate to express something honestly if it might upset someone. On the surface, it looks like kindness, and part of it is. But underneath that kindness, there's often something else. A quiet belief that other people's emotions are your responsibility to manage. And that belief doesn't just appear randomly. It's usually built early, in environments where emotions felt unpredictable, where someone else's mood could shift the entire atmosphere, where staying in tune meant staying safe. You learn to read between the lines. You learn that harmony matters. And slowly, without realizing it, you take on a role. The one who adjusts, the one who stabilizes, the one who keeps things from falling apart. Not because you want control over others, but because emotional stability became something you had to create yourself. And here's where it gets interesting. It's not actually about being too emotional or too sensitive. It's about control, but not the kind people usually think of. Not controlling others directly, but controlling outcomes. If you can keep everyone okay, then nothing explodes, nothing breaks, nothing turns into something overwhelming. So you become careful. You anticipate reactions before they happen. You manage conversations before they get uncomfortable. You carry emotional weight that was never clearly handed to you, but still feels like yours. And over time, this doesn't just affect how you act, it shapes how you see yourself. Your identity starts forming around being the responsible one, the understanding one, the emotionally aware one, the one people can rely on. And that sounds positive, but there's a quiet cost to it. Because when your identity is built around managing others' emotions, your own emotions don't always get the same space. You might downplay what you feel. You might question whether your reactions are too much. You might even feel guilty for having needs that could inconvenience someone else. Not because your feelings aren't valid, but because they were never the priority in the system you adapted to. And this shows up in small, everyday ways. You hesitate before sending a message, wondering how it will be received. You rephrase things multiple times to avoid sounding harsh. You feel tension in your body when someone seems off, even if they haven't said anything. It's constant, low-level awareness, a kind of emotional responsibility that never fully switches off. But the deeper pattern isn't just about fear of conflict. It's about emotional ownership. Somewhere along the way, the line between your emotions and other people's emotions became blurred. So when someone else feels bad, it doesn't just register as their experience. It feels like something you need to solve, or prevent, or carry. And that's not weakness, it's protection. A system your mind built to create stability in environments where stability wasn't guaranteed. It worked. It helped you navigate complexity. It helped you stay connected, avoid conflict, maintain relationships. But it also quietly taught you something that isn't entirely true. that you are responsible for how others feel. And once that belief is there, it becomes automatic. You don't question it, you just live inside it, adjusting, anticipating, managing, even when no one is asking you to. The difficult part is, this pattern is often invisible to the person living it, because it feels normal. It feels like, this is just who I am. But when you step back and really look at it, you start to notice something. Not everything you're carrying was meant to be yours. Other people's emotions come from their own experiences, their own thoughts, their own internal world. And yet, when you've spent a long time feeling responsible for them, it's hard to separate. Hard to recognize where you end and someone else begins. So you keep holding things, not because you have to, but because it feels like you do. And once you start seeing that pattern, it changes something. Not in a dramatic overnight way, but quietly, subtly. You begin to notice the moments where you take on more than you need to. The moments where you assume responsibility that wasn't actually given. The moments where your mind tries to fix something that isn't yours to fix. And that awareness doesn't force you to become a different person. It just shows you the pattern that was already there. Because it was never random. It was learned. It was practiced. It was repeated until it became part of how you move through the world. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that awareness alone starts to change how you carry things.